You also talked about this idea of like CEOs bringing on COOs as the company scale. Over the last 10 or 15 years, have you seen that change or evolve, or how has that changed and evolved?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's been a massive shift. And so if you go back to the 90s, what would happen is venture capitalists would invest in a company, and one of the first things that they would often do is they'd get rid of the founder CEO, and they'd bring in a hired gun to come run the company. This still happens in biotech, by the way, pretty frequently. So many founders ended up just not running their own companies. And so the companies were less innovative. They were less willing to sort of break glass on things that they'd sort of thought were dogma but were wrong. That all shifted in the mid-2000s when Sheryl Sandberg joined Facebook. And that created a whole new model for the fact that you could hire a COO instead of having to have somebody come in and replace you. And the primary reason that Zuck was able to get away with that is because he had board control. And the primary reason he had board control is because Sean Parker got fired from a company called Plaxo that I used to work at the time when Sean was there. I was a consultant to the company. And Parker then convinced Zuck that he should really sort of build out a real board. He should have control of the board so that he couldn't get fired. And then Sheryl got hired as COO. That worked magically, and then that became the pattern for every other company since then. So if you even look at something like Google, Eric Schmidt came in as the CEO, and Larry and Sergey really dragged their feet on it, right? It took them a year or two to hire a CEO. They always found something wrong with each candidate. If you think about the people who kept running their own companies in the 90s, or 80s and 90s, it's people who bootstrapped. So it was Microsoft, right? Bill Gates kept running his own company because he never really raised external capital. Or Michael Dell effectively bootstrapped. And so it's interesting to see that big transition happen.